Definitely need to get some stream starting soon things planned out and stream ending soon things planned out. Let's just spend this time not listening to myself. Action RPG. We can do better than that. We're missing a few tags. So today is a little blah, blah. Let's try that again. Today is a little bit of a casual stream, nothing particularly special planned, but I had some extra hours today and nothing else came to mind, so but I would do a bit of streaming and we'll see. I got a bit of Genshin Impact I want to play and then we'll see after that, because got a few hours and Genshin Impact's not necessarily gonna take up all those hours. Anyways, tags in game, because that's where I'm at. Casual, chilled, I guess. What are the other tags that I tend to use? Got like a desktop document that got all the different things in there, called streaming titles and stuff. There we go. Well, not the stuff and stuff part, just streaming titles. So for Genshin Impact, what do we tend to put on there? Because I tend to forget. Casual playthrough. In-game, okay. There's one that's actually called just casual playthrough. Oh wait, it didn't save the tags, that's why. I was like, I'm pretty sure I already added that. Casual, chilled, in-game. Let's try again. That tells me that I need to add chilled on here. It's one of those things where, okay, now it's saying the correct tags at least. It's one of those things where after you've sort of gotten a little bit more used to streaming, you start sort of investigating what kind of tags you can put on there. Though, from what I hear, it doesn't like seem to matter too much when it comes to Twitch, because there's no discoverability on here. But, or rather, there are the tags, but the majority of people, as far as I've been told, don't tend to use the tags. So it kind of just, you know, ends out being a moot point, you know, for 90% of the cases where it doesn't really matter whether or not you put tags on there. At least not if you're trying to grow an audience. And if I remember correctly, Genshin Impact is a little bit of a resource hog. And it's been a while since I've streamed this, so hopefully the quality is not going to be all choppy and stuff. It's going to take a quick look to see. Stellar Reunion. Oh wait, that's the... Is Stellar Reunion... What is that again? Is that the... I was contemplating if that's the friend referral system, because it's not any of the events that are called that. That reminds me, I kind of got to do Spiral Abyss. I've been like slacking on that pretty heavily. Did not want to open that. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely feel that I'm streaming. This game is, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like, ever since I got a new monitor, it seems like it's been performing way worse. To be fair, that was, you know, 4 times multiplication of pixels that need to be rendered, but still. I guess my GPU is a little bit old at this stage. But it's like most people are saying, don't buy a GPU right now because the market is just not good for it. Unless you already have like one of the GPUs that are super expensive right now, because that means that the aftermarket for those are that is like the aftermarket price for those is pretty good, which basically means that I've heard from people saying that they could literally sell an older GPU and then like, which was a pretty good GPU, but then they could reinvest that money into a newer GPU which was way better without any loss whatsoever on like you know, the monetary value of the thing, which is kind of interesting because like consider the fact that it means older GPUs like are so expensive, like GPUs are so expensive that even older models are worth more in the aftermarket, to the point where it's more expensive to buy a used one of those than buying a brand new one. That's like fucking insane to think about. Yeah, my game is really laggy. Is that thing where you can't really... I wonder... Yeah. Why are these still here? The hell? I don't think I've got a quest for these. Okay, now they disappeared. And my fucking game is being all weird. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't think you can... As far as I remember, I can't like change most stream settings. So as far as the stream quality goes, it does tell me that the quality is pretty good. Let's see, can we improve anything here? I don't think so. At least not in terms of the stream recording software. Of course I could close down my browser, but that only clears up memory. Give me a moment. Because as far as I remember, I can't, yeah, you can't really change most of these settings while you're doing the stream, so you'd have to like,
some Favonia's blade work?
Like for instance, if I wanted to reduce the bitrate, which is one of the things I could do, or I could change the, oh, where is it again? It's not the CPU usage. Might not only be visible when you're like, here it is, under video. There's the downscale filter, which right now I'm using a bicubic, which I can't remember. I think there's one lower than this. My terminology is a little bit rusty on that, but it's basically how the computer or Streamlabs OBS takes my 2K resolution and puts it down into like what's essentially, I guess, 1K. And just that thing alone has a huge impact on your performance. Kind of reminds me why I wasn't too keen on streaming Genshin Impact. Because like every time I would have to stream it, I would have to shut down the stream, switch the... not necessarily the bitrate, but at least the filtering settings, just while playing this game, and then I would have to temporarily shut it down whenever I would switch over to a different game, in order to like not have a super choppy experience. But it's okay, I'll mainly just be doing dailies anyway. I definitely don't want to explore the main content while the game is running at this quality. Like it's high quality, it's just really, well, not really, but it's kind of unresponsive, and I'm playing at like 15 FPS, it feels like. Something to the tune of that at least, so I'm suffering. On the stream, it hopefully does look okay. Otherwise, if it doesn't, like, that's the thing though. It would be so much more convenient if you could switch those settings on the fly, but there are probably technical reasons as to why that's not possible. I'm definitely not gonna be tuning down the quality of my game. I guess the only real answer would be to buy a better GPU. Well, there is one more option, but I don't know if that even makes a difference. Because you can have a secondary computer as your streaming device, if you will. But it requires a bit of like a work and setup, and though I was going to try that, I didn't get any further than wiping my old laptop, which for context hasn't been wiped ever since I bought it, basically. Not that I can remember, at least. Which means 5 years of university and a few extra years on top of that without being wiped. Definitely left it a little bit slow, let's just put it like that. All the freaking software required for the courses and stuff. But it's also not exactly the most expensive laptop in the universe, so it's kind of crap compared to modern standards. So basically when I bought it back, like, what's that now, over 8 years ago. Jeez, time goes by so fast. But yeah, about 8 years ago it was a mid-range laptop, so 8 years is a long time in terms of computer age, I guess you would call it. So like, it's pretty ancient in that regard. Like, it's so bad that I wouldn't even use it as a secondary gaming computer because it can't really run most things. My desktop PC is a completely different story, though the GPU is, like, you can definitely feel that the GPU is getting old now. But even then, it's not really, like, in terms of years, it's not really that old, is it? 1070? But then again, like, a 1070 wasn't the best of the best when it came out, so, and was new, meaning that, you know, leaves a lot of room for improvement. Oh, this one's just sitting there. Oh, I wonder why I haven't picked up that yet. Oh well. But yeah, I've been exploring this new area. I can like see zooming out that I'm barely like, well, I guess I'm going to way past 50%, I suppose, given the exploration percentages. But it did definitely feel like it lasted for a very long time, because unlike when I was doing the previous main content of the game, I wasn't really like focusing down on Genshin Impact as much as I was back then. So in between trying to also participate in all the event stuff, it was a kind of a weird experience that, you know, this time around, because I remember when I first started playing Genshin Impact, there was an elemental crucible event or something, and I didn't quite grasp the whole gacha system and events being all the focus, because I'd never played a game like Genshin before in terms of like monetization model, which is kind of weird because it's not really a new thing and stuff, but you know, that's just how it is. And as a result, I didn't know how important participating in that event would be until like I got through the main story, because my logic was as follows, which is I would play through the main story first, and then I would worry about all the dailies and all that kind of stuff later, because, and you know, this makes sense in my own ears at least, and you can agree or disagree, but you know, when you don't know if you'll continue playing the game beyond the main story, then why start focusing down on dailies and events and everything? Because, you know, gotta figure out if you want to keep playing the game. Yes! No, no, wait. God damn it. It's not exactly the character I was hoping for. Fiona is nice, but I do want to get that new one. Because she's a great sword user, as the first one in, like, that has the animo element. Or affinity or whatever, and she can do healing as well. So I for sure want to build her as a DPS. No doubt about that. Oh, fuck. Fuck. I forgot to switch party. Oh well. Hopefully the Mago Kinky's not gonna kill Klee. Okay. Let's just go over here and like reevaluate the situation, eh? Come on. Because oh yeah, I do believe I did look up the ascension materials for the new character, so I've been like already begun farming materials for her because I don't, well, there's some other things I could be using my resin for, but if I could get her, I wouldn't care if I didn't even get, like, if I only got her without constellations, like, as long as I get her, because she's probably gonna be like with all the other characters unless she reappears in like a banner down the line very frequently, aka very hard to acquire after she's featured. I know some characters have definitely been hard to get. Even characters that are featured, I sometimes just get the worst luck with. Which is kind of weird because I would consider myself having been very, very lucky in this game, and you know, when starting out. Every time there was a new 5-star featured character, I would always end up getting them before the banner would run out. So I ended up getting like a Venti on the very first banner when the game came out, and I ended up getting not one but 2 Zhongli's, I believe, even when his banner came out. The same with Child, I got him on his featured banner. So yeah, I would say I've been pretty lucky with a lot of characters. Pretty much, well, not all, but you know, every single featured character I have was gained on the first pull on a featured character. So I would consider that pretty lucky. I have of course missed some, like I didn't get Ganju, which I'm okay with. I didn't get... who else do we have actually? Didn't get Kasuha, even though I did try and like get him. But since I'm not a big spender on the game, you know, I'm just using whatever resin I save up. Which means the 80 resin I get on a daily basis, and then whatever else the events, quests, and other kind of game exploration sort of throws at you. So yeah, not a big spender. Oh yeah, and the battle pass I suppose is worth counting too, given how that also gives you both wishes and primogems. I mean, not that I complain about this either, even though... Actually, is this even useful? No, this is actually kind of useless to me anyway. Because if I were to use Diona, I would use her for her elemental skill and burst, but not her actual DPS capabilities. So, aka build her up into... so she can do some more healing? And do some... get some more energy recharge on her. That's probably what I would go for. Okay, well, that being said though, what's next on the table? Because I'm in that weird spot where I've been playing at some weird times of the day, meaning that my resin recharge is kind of off. So it's not quite where it should be. Let's try and do some Spiral Abyss. I don't know how it's going to be with the lag and stuff that I'm experiencing, but hopefully it's going to be okay. Yeah, this was a while ago. Jeez, I haven't even done this in like 2 months. Think of all the Primogems. But, you know, it's kind of like, if ever you in life encounter something where it just doesn't feel worth doing anymore, then at least to my my way of dealing, or way of life, is that don't do it then. Like, if you're not enjoying it or feeling that you're getting something good out of it in return, or rather that the payoff is worth the invest, basically. That kind of goes with everything. So how do I do this again? Because the team comps look exactly like they always are. Same boring crap. Which is why I've kind of been slacking on this, is because I've just been so bored with this. It's twice a month you gotta do this. There's no variety, it's always the same. So you have no reason to use different party members other than for trying to go like further, which is so stressful that I don't personally care much for it. Meaning that I always just end up doing, you know, the first half of the redoable sections. Because beyond that, it's kind of bullshit. Unless you have like all full, what do you call it, constellation bonus characters with like 5-star weapons and super lucky grinded out artifact sets or something crazy. That's at least how I see it.
It's nothing.
Unless they changed it? Didn't it usually happen inside like a room, or maybe that's just a backdrop change? But yeah, like, I would always get to like the halfway point, and then they throw this stupid ass floor at you, which I've just given up on trying because of how hard it is. Where you basically have to protect like a stone statue in the middle, like you normally do, similar to how like you would in like one of those challenge areas out in the world. Except enemies are higher level, you have to do 2 rounds of it, and the hit points of the thing doesn't regenerate between rounds. And there's like 20 some enemies per round that you have to take out, some of which are really tanky and does a lot of damage. AKA, you get butt fucked. So it's like you gotta be super quick and all while surviving. And you also in order to even get anything out of it, you also have to do it without the thing taking too much damage. Which I have I barely even know how you're supposed to beat it. Especially like, at least with my given team compositions, I haven't been able to. And normally I have like no issues whatsoever doing any of the game's content, but that one, absolutely impossible for me. And when you've tried it like, you know, 5 times with your best go at it, and you don't even get through it, like let alone get the stars to actually get rewards out of it, you don't even get through it. Which means also, you know, any consecutive challenges there might be, you don't even get to do because you can't even get past the halfway mark, so you don't get any promo gems or any rewards. And if you can't even get that far, why would you be motivated to try and do it over and over again when it's already like a very boring experience? Because it's either just this, like, I don't know if they've changed it. I don't think they have changed it, but it used to always be the same fucking enemies every single month. The only thing that changed was like a global, like, modifier or whatever. But never did I ever experience where it actually was enough to actually compensate for the fact of how hard that particular challenge was. And more often than not, the bonuses don't even apply to my setup, so I might have more options now, but like making a composition for Spiral Abyss just to get started is already bothersome enough, and I honestly can't be fucking, like, it's a chore having to try and figure out something that works because of the time investment. And every time you fail, there's no payoff, so the only way that you get anything out of it is by succeeding, because it's not fun to do, so just the fact of doing it isn't rewarding either. At least not to me. And I mean, it's not like you can do it co-op either, so you can't even rely on your friends, which is like the only place in the game where I would really like to be able to do co-op. And they just don't allow it because, I guess, promo gem rewards or something? I don't know. I'm actually a bit unsure as to why you can't co-op Spiral Abyss. But I mean, it's like I said earlier, if you don't want to do it, you can just not do it. And that's what I've not been doing for like 2 months. But you do want the promo gems though. But it's like, you know, when an experience is so boring that you don't even want to do it for free promo gems, then it's pretty bad. That's at least what I would say. But yeah, the arena is definitely different. I don't know if that even matters though. That could just be a graphical thing. Though, I guess the other room was square, so now it's a circle. I don't know. Also, there used to be that whole cold thing in the middle of, like, I guess that is different. So maybe you don't have to worry about going cold and all that stuff. We'll see. It's been so long that I can't even remember. Because I can't remember if it's just like the next floor, or not floor, but yeah, next floor that's got the cold stuff, or if it used to be both. My memory tells me that it used to be both, which would be good. Like, maybe it's because they changed it because it's no longer winter or something? Because it's like a mechanic that they introduced with Dragon Spine, so maybe they just, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it's just like, ever since Dragon Spine was introduced, they kind of just didn't do anything with Spiral Abyss to make it engaging at all. It's just the same boring shit every single time. And I don't even feel that the choices you get for each floor really matter, because there's only really one choice, and that's to do more damage. Anything else is just wasted investment, because if you're like having such a hard time that you need to heal up, chances are you won't even like get anything out of it in the first place, because you're not doing enough damage to take out the enemies fast enough. Like, why would you ever need hit points? There's like no way that you can have like a 4-team composition without a healer in there, and also not have a high DPS character, if you know what I mean. So why do you have the option to heal yourself? Even if you were like low on hit points on a character, then I don't know. It just seems weird as a choice. This seems weird.
For retribution.
Speaking of healing though, in this composition I do use Jean because you can't have Barber or both places.
Barbados, guide us.
It does do a good amount of damage, but I mean, these guys are also very low level, so they're taking increased damage and doing reduced onto you. Which is why it's so misleading on Spiral Abyss, because you're like, okay, the first floor is like, you know, it's pretty easy. It's nothing too hard. Once you get like 2 compositions, that is, which is the main thing that really pissed me off. It's like, oh, okay, so you can't even get into the repeatable section of Spiral Abyss until you have like 2 fully upgraded teams. Because there's no way in hell you'd be able to do well enough. It's like, there would be no point, rather, to do Spiral Abyss until you have 2 team compositions that can go to max level and everything else. Because once you get up into these redoable sections, that's when like Spiral Abyss really matters. The other parts you can do at any time, you know. You shouldn't be so stressed with Primogems that those 400 or whatever extra you can gain from having 2 team compositions would be worth the effort so early on. You know, it's just unnecessary stress. But yeah, I know I'm ranting a little bit, I guess. But it's kind of just talking about the game. Like, I love Genshin Impact, but there's just some things in there where I'm scratching my head once in a while where, you know, you should probably consider being selective whether or not you even want to do it in the first place. Because it's like, once you get used to the fact that you just don't have those extra Primogems twice a month, I suppose. You know, and I didn't even do this fast enough. Wow. How did I not do that fast enough? So that means I actually have to do that again. See, that's another part where it's like super fucking frustrating. Because I felt like that took forever to do the first segment here. And I didn't even get all the rewards. So if I want to get like another 50 Primogems, I have to do the whole fucking thing again. Just for this. Just for this. 50 Primogems and 25,000 coins. Or Mora. Which 25,000 Mora is nice and all, but my account is at that stage now where Primogems is like or Mora is like the least of my concerns. So this is all remaining challenge time stuff. Oh yeah, okay, so they did update this because there's some new enemies in here. Okay, that's something at least. But unless they go on a rotation, there'll be a leader. Wait, what? There'll be a leader amongst the opponents present in each challenge on this floor. Its attendants will also be present to provide with enhancements and protection. Each attendant will increase the leader's elemental resistance and physical resistance. How do I get to read the rest of that? How do I get to read the rest of that? I can check the rewards. I can check what enemies spawn, but I can't get up into that dialog box to scroll down. Oh, okay, if I use my right analog stick, I can get up there somehow, for some reason. And yes, I do play with controller. Attendants will restore HP. Oh god, it's one of those fucking things. They just have to make this super annoying. I wonder if it's more streamlined now. It does seem like the first half is the hard one. And the second half is like a little bit easier maybe, given the team compositions. That's another thing which I don't like about this. It's sometimes super hard to figure out where to put your team comps because of, like, you you know, you can go by elemental resistances, sure, but you know, your different teams are going to do different amounts of damage within certain amounts of time, so you know, you might not necessarily want to use particular characters in particular runs or in certain orders, like fighting specific enemies. Because I've had these experiences where elemental burst damage, okay, healing effectiveness, meh. Character defense less, but this is only this chamber, so that's the thing also, like, why would you want to go for chamber specific things? Because that just means you're going to be screwed on the next one. Unless you did it for every single room, you know.
Let's dance.
To be fair, you might not ever need them, but I digress. But yeah, I've been like sort of just mentally zoning out from doing Spiral Abyss for so long because of how bad it is. And every time like I would have to go around doing Spiral Abyss, I would always go like, do I really have to, you know? Because I would always end up getting so stressed because there's that time limit and it takes so long to go through the whole thing, relatively speaking, that if you need to do it again, that's like another like 15-20 minutes depending on a lot of factors, right? And if your character dies, you're forced to start over again, basically, because you can't revive, you can't use buff foods, you can't use any of your utilities. Again, this is one of those few instances where I actually would like to be able to use my buff foods. But they're just sitting in my inventory collecting dust, since there's nowhere else in the game where I really need them. There are a few instances where they help, but that's like on event-specific challenges. In particular, the ones where you have to like put in your own difficulty. You basically get like points rewarded to you based off of how difficult you make the fights. And all of those, basically, you're allowed to use buff foods on. Which, in some cases, if you don't, make it borderline impossible to even beat the challenge to begin with, so... You know, shit. Might be worth using it, at least in those cases. Because if I don't, like, I stopped using buff foods for domains a long time ago. So if I don't use them for events, and you can't use them for Spiral Abyss, then where would you use it?
Wait, hear me.
There's literally no other place. Okay, see, these guys are level 80, also not too bad, because being level 80 means that they are lower level than you.
Submit.
This guy is pretty tanky though. Your child can make short work of this one.
Brace yourself. This is gonna hurt.
Definitely doesn't go down fast. That would be the understatement of the year. But we did it within... how many minutes is that again? 6 times. So 4 minutes remaining, right? It's basically what it amounts to. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna do like these two and then get those 100 odd promo gems and then call it, because fuck going further than that. That's this chamber and that's this floor. Again, is that healing effectiveness? But why? Gives a 50% chance to end elemental skill cooldown. Okay.
You'll get frostbite.
A touch of frost.
Can't run.
Oh shit, I might have gone for the wrong. No, I think this guy's also Hydro. I want to take out the Hydro ones first because they're healers. Otherwise, they just keep healing the fucking F out of each other. That reminds me, in the new Inazuma area, there's like a place that is like constantly covered in thunder and has permanent rain throughout the area. When I went there the first time, I had like a commission that I needed to do, and there were Fatui there, and one of them was that freeze thrower guy. And because it was constantly raining, I could almost not move anywhere as soon as he was near, because he would repeatedly put me on ice. And every time I would get free, I would be put back into being a popsicle. These Electro Fatui are so fucking obnoxious. Their energy shields are just too damn strong for anyone that's not a cryo character. Like, you can make do with Pyro and use that to do like overload damage, but your damage is so heavily reduced that you're basically just doing normal damage at that point. And when you have limited people to choose from in terms of who's capable of fighting, you know, you gotta make do with what you got available to you. Now I have way more characters available to me now than when I started Spiral Abyss, you know, but that doesn't mean that all my characters I'm too well acquainted with using to the point where I feel confident enough to take them into a fight like this. Because that's the thing, like, you also got to be acquainted with actually using your damn characters. It's not enough to just have them ready, you also got to know how to use them. Because it doesn't matter how well equipped your characters are if you don't know how to use their skills and you don't have like a good team comp. You're like missing out on 50% of your strength. And in turn, how fast you can deal damage. Is that what that skull means? It's like a leader character? Maybe. We did do it though in time. That means the last floor. Yes. So, doesn't matter which one we choose. Character elemental skill damage. In current skill cooldown, but only on defeating an opponent. And then this one, fucking restore HP. Why? Just why? So useless. And I always go for just damage when I get the option to. Have you fought against one of these before? Okay, because it's a new entry. Interesting. Oh yeah, they're like doing that link thing. That reminds me, there was like a thing where we had to fight one of these guys and like borderline impossible because he would keep getting healed by things. I think that was actually one of those challenges where you have like fucker didn't put himself in a shield. Yeah, I think it was one of those challenges where you had to choose your poison on how hard you wanted it to be, and for the most of the challenge options there, it made it borderline literally impossible because you couldn't take out the enemies fast enough because of how tanky they were. Because the idea was that you would have to take out the small enemies to stop the healing, but and then you would have like a brief window of time where you could take out some of his hit points, but they just ended up being so fucking tanky that it was virtually impossible to do anything. Like, maybe with buff boots, no, not even with buff boots actually. Just impossible. give me this. Thank you. And my D-loop can do a lot of pyro-related damage, making it a little bit of a problem when there's no pyro weak, when there's pyro resistant enemies, but it's pretty good. Got that whole thing that for each time he uses an elemental skill, he gains like increased damage due to the artifact set. This is the problem. At least we can get some fucking crystallized effects going on. How am I like doing nothing with pyro? This game needs some more cross damage like weaknesses, because I think the idea is that you're supposed to use like cryo for this guy. But why would pyro not work? Well, that's because water is strong against pyro, not the opposite way around. But I mean, they both synergize, so why wouldn't they be, you know, equally strong against each other? Or rather, equally weak against each other. It's just a matter of who strikes first, in my opinion. Something I've never quite understood when it comes to certain video games and their portrayal of elemental weaknesses, you know. Some games is like fire is strong against water, other games it's like the opposite. And then, you know, then you also have ice, which they try and put in there sometimes. And it doesn't always make sense to me. Because ice is a little bit more straight to like explain, since, you know, water freezes when it comes into contact with ice, so ice should be strong against water. And then when fire comes into contact with ice, it melts and becomes water, so, you know, fire should be strong against ice. But then there's still the water and fire situation that's kind of hard to argue. But as I expected, we didn't do too well in that. We might actually have done... See, that's the thing, we might not even have done better if I'd used my Eula there. But I'm so done with this. I honestly can't be bothered to do it twice, because that's ended up taking like half an hour just to do this. And sure, it's only, you know, twice a month you gotta do this, but it's already 2 times too many. It's just a fight arena, you don't even get like XP or anything. I really wish there was like a reward for like just doing things. This seems to be just challenged. You gotta beat like the fucking bosses, okay. Yeah, so those are the new ones, or one of them is. Well, I guess they're technically both new. Depends on like your perception on time, I suppose. Yeah, so with the new Inazuma area, they updated what enemies we face here. So this is probably gonna be fucking Spiral Abyss for the next half year. Knowing MiHoYo. I do appreciate the fact you gotta fight bosses instead of protect the fucking thing, but as you notice, like when you get to them, they're level 92, so... yeah... I don't think I'm gonna bother with that, honestly. I don't even fathom how you should be able to do that with like, without 5-star weapons that do more damage and that kind of stuff. Because that's the thing we have to remember, is that if you have a 5-star weapon, which I only have one, and it's a short sword, which is my least favorite characters to use, hence why it's not even upgraded. But yeah, the base attack on these and subsequent their secondary upgrade gets like much more powerful than a 4-star weapon. So if you don't have 5-star weapons, you know, Spiral Abyss in-game stuff is basically impossible. Because it definitely feels like it's balanced towards these weapons, as people have said in the past, as a place for whales to flex their wallets, so to speak. Because there's like no other way. And I rarely ever get to put any of my wishes into the weapon banners because I always go for the characters, since that's the what you use to play the game with. You know, you can make do with any weapon in the game basically that you get handed to you. And 4-star weapons are more than enough adequate enough to like deal with the majority of the game. So why would you want to invest in anything else than you know, weapons, other than to do Spiral Abyss? And I'm not gonna fucking do that because I fucking hate Spiral Abyss already enough as it is. So why make it even worse for myself? You know, I'd rather just have some more character variety to play the main bulk of the game. Because Spiral Abyss is like 1% of the entirety of the game. And to have that ruin the entire experience would be so fucking sad. Which is why, you know, I've started like just ignoring it as well, because it's kind of souring the rest of the experience, honestly, when there's like just this one part of the game that you just can't do because you're not spending like $10,000 on the game.
Submit for judgment.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one that has that experience, and it's probably why, you know, a lot of people are kind of, what do we call it? Not sketch, but oh, what's it called again? There's a good term for it. Cautious is not the word either, but basically like being cautious about gacha related games, or hesitant, I guess is a better way to say it. Because they don't want to like support a business model for video games that straight up gate your content experience based off of how much money you're willing to put into it. And I don't know, I mean, microtransactions into other the games, it's not because I want to use my charged attacks, it's just that the game is so laggy that my single attack inputs actually get registered as a hold. So instead of doing like, you know, several attacks, the game registers as I'm actually pulling down the button, and I'm not really pressing my buttons that fast. Mihoyo, fix your shit. Like, it's making it really hard to do this fight, actually. It's only when I'm in like elemental burst form that it doesn't do that, because you can't. Like, you can't charge your attacks with a racer when you're in your spirit, with your spirit out. I'm not noticing any frame drops on Streamlabs though, but I can definitely feel an impact on my game experience. It is kind of unfortunate. But as I said earlier in the stream, I can't like change those settings on the fly, so I would have to like take the stream down, which would also cut the VOD in half, and change the settings, start up the stream again, see if it's good enough, and eventually like note down what settings I need to use. And every time I want to stream Genshin Impact, I would have to go and change those settings. And that's just too much hassle for me. Wow, expired. Yeah, figures. Well, while that boss refreshes so I can do it a third time today, let's go to the Serenity Pot. And then once we've taken out that boss, I'll look at something else to play. Yeah, I'm like fucking sweating just from doing Spiral Abyss.
This realm.
And it's not even like I didn't even get all the rewards on the first go. Not that I was super nervous, it's just like stressful. It's stressful because every time you get like frozen, you're like, come on, unfreeze already. or if you're getting like pummeled, or if you're close to dying, because you know that if your character is like KO'd, you're going back, son. What to craft though? I guess 5 of these. I've just been bulk crafting things really for the sake of the battle pass progression. But other than that, it's like I've made one of each, and the things that I'm really interested in you can't craft yourself. Those are oh, god damn it. Those are only purchasable through the coins, and I use these coins to buy the artifact upgrade materials, which once you get the ball rolling you can purchase all of these every week. Like, it's the start of the week and I've already bought all of these. Start of the week. Fuck, that reminds me. Nah, I'll do the bosses on another day, I guess. But yeah, that just reminds me that I tend to do those on a Monday, but I wouldn't have been able to without spending like condensed resin anyway. Or fragile resins. I could have done that though, given how I have like 31 of those. So let's just get these opened for a bit of extra artifacts, which is okay, I guess. Okay, we can check the cooldown on the boss though from here, so fingers crossed he's back. I doubt it, unless they've reduced the timers on these bosses. It used to be that I was able to fight one boss, and then while fighting them, the other boss that I fought earlier would have respawned. But it does seem like we're good. This fight isn't as enjoyable though when the game is laggy, but I'll just deal with it because we're switching to another game any moment anyway. Oh shit. Speaking of another annoying thing in Genshin Impact, invincibility frames on bosses. Or not even frames, just invincibility states that they go in. Like this boss has like a really annoying invincibility state that it goes into when it goes to stage 2 of the boss fight, and I don't understand why. Why does it need to be there? Because the only thing it really does is that it makes me waste some of my abilities. And in this game, you never seem to have any reason to put restraint on the, you know, your ability usage. You want to use your abilities as much as possible. So for them to put in like a few instances here and there where suddenly you're supposed to not spend all your powers immediately, it just breaks, you know, how the game was designed, I feel. Because like, in order for my party to do better damage, I have to use my abilities. So if I don't do that on the first phase, I just take longer for the first phase, and I'm, you know, it doesn't mean anything for the boss fight. It doesn't make it more interesting. It doesn't make it go by faster. It just makes it go by, you know, slower, basically. If I were to be more conservative with my skills, so even if like I end up in a situation where I waste half of like my elemental burst or whatever, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. It's not like you know, you get insta-gibbed or anything. Okay, and then let me just teleport away so that I don't spawn in tomorrow right in the middle of a boss fight. Oh, that was also another annoying thing. I recently got my Xiao up to max, like character ascension, and realized that well, apart from the fact that I need these freaking flowers now, but the boss that you get the juvenile jade from doesn't drop the gemstones you need. So when you're fighting the earth dragon, you get these, but then you get like other gemstones for other characters that I don't care about right now. Like, you get geocrystals as one of them. And I don't particularly care about it because you know, I don't necessarily have any geo characters that'll need them later on, so it's just wasted, like having the resources are just accumulating for no reason. Okay, anyways, what was it called again? There was this game called TimberBorn that I was curious about. I haven't quite downloaded the demo actually, but I will do that now. It's gonna take a while, but not what I'm going to play at the moment, I don't think. Do have a few options though, but I'll have to see. Okay, we got like 2 hours. I don't want to make it a super long stream today, but or maybe the game is downloading super fast. Huh. Well, I be damned, it's only like half a gig, so it's basically already downloaded. Well then. That being said, we'll need to update the titles and stuff. Or actually just the game that we'll be playing, I think should be more than adequate. So just give me a moment to do that. Question is, does it even, no, it does not. It doesn't even have a thing. Maybe it does on Twitch, but I would doubt it. I'll try and put it in anyway and see what happens here. Oh, it is on Twitch at least. Okay. It's just on Facebook. It's not. I see. I see. But even though I've changed it from this control panel, I need to make sure that it's actually updated. Let's see here, stream manager. Of course, I don't have a stream layout for it, but shouldn't be a big problem. Okay. Just need to remove a tag. Okay, it seems like it's changed. Good. So my apologies if the game ends up being like super loud, but there's nothing I can do about that, of course. Let's give this a go, though. It's only a demo, however, but I've seen some gameplay from it, and I wanted to give it a go, so give it a chance. Okay. So let's see here. Let's put this one there. And then I guess we'll do a game capture. And a new one. TimberBorn. In one word, if you're also curious about what it is. You can see it's already capturing it, but I'm making sure that it's actually capturing this particular one. Move it down there. And again, apologies in advance if it ends up being like super loud, but and the sounds are because I have to remove some things from my stream layout here, because it's just I just duplicated the one I used for RimWorld, and as such there's like a bunch of extra layers here that we're not gonna need, including a hot tub, which is like, that's so, feels so long ago now. Like that was in the beginning, before summer even, or in the beginning of summer rather. Yeah, let's take it from here. So, meant to give you a glimpse of the full game. Above all else, it is about you helping us shape TimberBorn before its early access launch. I've already wishlisted it because it looks like just my kind of game. It's a colony simulator, but it's like post-apocalyptic, but you're not humans, you're a bunch of beavers. So It's a bit on the weird side, which I kind of like. I think it's pretty quirky, and is that what if scenario if like post-apocalyptic mayhem happens, but some other kind of species develops enough sentience to form a community. So, certain gameplay features are locked out, other things are still being worked on, including music, new in-game user phase, redesigned factions, new buildings, and more. Can't spoil everything. Preview demo, be prepared for bugs, performance issues, or crashes. If you previously participated in the closed beta, save games are not supported. Okay. So, first things first, volume settings. Which they fortunately do have. Okay, so let's see. Definitely needs to be more quiet. %25% maybe? Like, I can hardly even hear this. But I can see in my overlay on Streamlabs that it seems pretty loud. So let's try and put it on 20. That seems okay. Don't want to blow out your eardrums. What else do we have here? Ultra. Okay, so that tells me it's maybe most likely made with Unity. I don't need an FPS counter. Steam already supplies that. It's a weird thing. I don't understand why video games supply an FPS counter. Steam has its own built-in one that you can enable, and it will work for every single game on Steam. So why bother even putting it into your game? I guess if you put it onto like a different platform. So there are some different factions, and from what I understand, the Beavers of Demoria are the one that you probably want to start with. Free spirits by nature, they specialize in surviving the most desolate land through sheer determination. They lack the unique characteristics of their distant full game cousins. Full game cousins, okay. Yeah, these are not available anyway, so we don't really have any choice. We have 2 map sizes. It's interesting. Normally video games recommend smaller map sizes, but on this one they're actually recommending the large one. Or larger one, which is kind of weird. So we'll just go with that. And then we'll see what we do about all my overlays and stuff once we get into the actual game. Because I probably don't need the VCam to be all the way up here, for instance. But one thing at a time. Okay, so space does what you think it does. It pauses and unpauses the game. Good. That means I can adjust everything I need. Now I don't know if I get like all this space over here for myself, but I'll put that over there for now. And then we have our resources in the top of the screen, so I'll probably put this Twitch URL that I have down in the bottom maybe. Actually, wait, these menus expand, don't they? Yeah, they do. So don't want that down there necessarily. But I could be cheeky and just put it over here. That's fine. I just tend to put it onto my the reason why I have that in the first place, that Twitch URL, is because I'm restreaming onto other platforms. So in the hopes of getting people's attention through like Facebook and stuff, and then get them over here to like communicate, because it's a little bit easier when everyone's like communicating on the same platform. Anyways. Anything else? Oh yeah, there's the view count. Because like if I plan on streaming this some other time, you know, it's nice to have these things sorted out. Oh yeah, there's a chat box too, which no one's been chatting today, but you never know. Okay, I don't really like making it smaller, so I'll just make my webcam smaller instead. Doesn't have to be like super large anyway. I mean, though I'm sure I don't have the ugliest of faces. There's probably a good amount of people that don't really care what I look like anyway, and watch me poke my nose all the time and stuff. Don't need the stream raiders countdown either because I'm not doing that at the moment. Okay, I think we're getting there. Let's just get this one. There, that's fine. Get all this fucking shit locked in place so I don't accidentally move things around. Alright, so here we are with our little beaver colony. TimberBorn. Okay, that's kind of interesting how the camera resets itself. Anyways, we've got a little bit of a tutorial on the top right. Your driving settlement starts with getting some logs. Use the bottom action menu to build a log pile and to mark trees for cutting. Okay, so this is the map that we've kind of been handed to us. It's like some old deteriorated buildings out here. Jeez, this does feel like a really big map though. I wonder if the game is optimized in terms of pathfinding and all that. So what do we have? We have a river that's sort of... Jeez. Okay, where does it start? It starts all the way up here. And then the water flows all the way down here to where we are. And yes, this game has water physics. So, as you can probably tell, all this desolate wasteland ground is sort of infertile soil, and everything that's close enough to water will be irrigated and become green. So, and it seems like it doesn't have to be level with the water, the terrain that is, but it does seem like this water over here being level makes the grass grow further in. But yeah, it's like a terraforming game mixed into like a city colony game. So what we'll be doing is gathering resources and building up a little colony. But we're beavers, so it's kind of strange. So we want to build a log pile. I think this is a log pile, okay. And R rotates everything, so that's pretty much what you're used to from other video games. Or similar games in the genre, like city builders and stuff. And you have to build paths in this game, which is very similar to like the older style civilization building games like Pharaoh, and like, I mean, it goes all the way back to fucking Caesar and all that stuff. And then we have our marking things down here so we can cut trees, where you mark all the trees for being cut. And I think there's no reason to not mark all of this, because we want to also clear out a bit of area. I see like this little pocket here is like blocked off with some debris of some kind. But we can actually build like a dam pretty early on, I would say. Because we can actually keep all this place up here irrigated. So the idea is that we're currently in the wet season, which we can see on the top right. And eventually it becomes a dry season, and when that happens we want to be like prepared for, you know, everything so that our people slash beavers don't die. And to help us, we have these water pumps here, but I guess we want to do like one thing at a time, huh? Because I've seen some other people play this and their colony ended up dying very easily. So I wonder. So this is housing. Okay, so there's... Okay, so they have like a specific building for the mirror version of this. Okay. But yeah, as you can see, like this particular building even has like a second floor. Which means that if we build like some housing out in this direction here, we can actually use the houses themselves in order to get up in this upper section of the map there, which could be kind of cool way to do things. But yeah, we'll want to build some of that as well. If we just unpause the game, what are they gonna do? Okay, nothing. So in order to build this, if I remember correctly, you need to have like a construction builder flag. Employs builders, extend its range by building paths. Inefficient, but it does not require any materials and can be built by unemployed beavers. So you get like a carrying and building speed penalty of 50% because it's like an unoptimal method, if you will. Heck, we can actually build that up here too. Huh. Wonder if there's any reason to do that. I'll try building it there just for curiosity's sake. We can set priorities on these buildings, but no storage in range. Oh, we have a lumberjack flag here already. But yeah, we're building this, these beavers are building this pile here. So, what are all these stats on the right hand side? That's just... Okay, that's their, like, state. Your well-being. So the better we treat our beavers, the more efficient they become. And going on 1, 2 freeze speeds up and slows down the game. That's pretty standard too. Now let's keep the beavers alive. Build a water pump on the riverbank to secure a steady supply of water. Should also place a gatherer flag to gather berries from the nearby bushes, which, well enough, we do have bushes. Alright, so where's the gatherer flag? Is that under labor? That's a hauling post. Okay, we'll probably also need this warehouse in order to store our goods. Which we could actually be cheeky and build it like this. Guess we should actually have built it here, but... Oh wait, we can still do that because we haven't actually done this. Yeah, let's do that. Because I do like the idea of trying to utilize this verticality of these buildings. So water pump. So now I'm already thinking though, if we're gonna be building a dam over here eventually, then I suppose it would be better to have the pump go and like gather water from this area. Just so that we can keep doing it even in the dry season. But I guess maybe for now, it's good enough if we just do it over here. And then there's these water towers that we can build as well. Which... kind of want to build some near here because I don't want them to walk too far away in order to gather water. So though we could store it right at the source, I think it's probably a better idea to try and like... There's a freaking tree in the way, of course there would be. But yeah, and try and keep the distance that they need to walk a little bit shorter. We can also have like 1 or 2 over here as like an emergency supply for later. And under food we have this gatherer flag, which when we zoom out you can see like their active like sort of area that they work in. So if we build this out here, they'll be able to work in this entire area. Good, good. And it does seem like the entire area is going to be covered by that build post. It does seem a bit quiet though. Oh, there's like no sound, is there? So was that just in the main menu then? Whoa. Okay, so there is music. Okay. Huh. Their master volume settings are kind of wonky, huh? So I said, so this is 100%. Yeah. Hi. Okay. I thought like the sound just completely disappeared or something. So I'm like trying to monitor it on the stream and it's like really weird to get it balanced without being too loud. While also being able to actually have any audio go through to begin with. Oh, there we go. Now I think we've got some volume here. I did feel that it was awfully quiet. Okay, so they start us out with a good amount of food, it seems. No water though, so if we don't get this water, they're all gonna fucking die from dehydration. Does it mean we need another of these builder's flags just so that they work faster? Because this is fucking slow as shit. I guess it might mean that. Try and fast track these buildings here. I don't know if they can actually operate them without the roads. I think they can. Okay, so we can also plant some crops here. Definitely need to do that. And I guess we might as well try and use as much of the fertile ground as possible. There's also one for, there's just one for cutting trees. Okay, so they'll automatically gather from the bushes. We don't need to do anything in regards to that. Build this. Okay, so they can operate without roads. It's just more optimal once roads are like in place. Let's see, because they work pretty walk really slowly. So what else do we have? Metal, power, science, leisure. Something tells me that leisure is going to be pretty important because it tends to be in colony games. Having no water does make me a little bit concerned though. Okay, so they're all like sleeping outside. Not for too long though. Awesome. Yeah, so the roads are also being built, but very slowly. And now we need to build a water tank in the center of your village. We'll make it easier for the beavers to quench their thirst. Okay, so my hunch was correct. That is indeed what you want to do. Goody good. These trees are going down really fast though, I feel. Make a lumber mill. Okay, so we need to research in order to do like replant trees, it seems. Natural barrier blocking water can be demolished ground only. Maybe. Okay, so let's try and demolish this actually, because that should extend the water into this little pocket here, which I kind of want to try and make use of. Yeah, we're just needing logs. Okay. Also, might as well mark these other trees down here for chopping. I guess they'll automatically leave out the young saplings so that those don't become like they don't get chopped down. Okay, so we can already build dam pieces here. They just require logs. I don't know if... I don't think our beavers would be able to get to this. I kind of want to do like this so that all this area behind here can like be used as a little pond or whatever. Because you can see the water's like flowing down here, but if we were to block this up, it would start accumulating. It's like it just spread into that pocket there. Wonder how high this water's gonna go. Or if it's just gonna be like at the very bottom here. Okay, so we built a thing. We also built some dirt paths already. Beavers should now survive for a while. You can start thinking about building farms, producing power, and generating science ports. Good luck. Okay, so that's the tutorial for you. That was pretty short and sweet. Nothing too crazy. I do prefer it when you can like sort of learn video games fairly easily. I'm not too much of like a tutorial fond guy myself, so having a short tutorial is always nice. So what do we need in order to actually grow stuff? Okay, we have a farmhouse here. Oh yeah, look at this. Fucking all this area out here is green now too. Nice. Well, I guess we'll want a farmhouse. So what if we put one here? Question is, do we need more than one though? Because we have like housing for free. Okay, so free beavers can live in one of those square boxes, and we have 11. So we definitely have a feeling we're gonna need like a lot of food. Oh, that's a gatherer flag. I almost placed down the fucking wrong thing. Where was the... Oh yeah, it was over here. This is where the crop planting thing was. It's a bit hard to tell where the fertile soil starts and where the infertile soil like it carries over into like stuff that's non-growable. Oh, we do actually have an access point here, so we can actually get up here. Nice. This natural stone ramp or staircase or whatever the heck you would call it. But yeah, how would we tell the grounds apart? There's nowhere on the screen that I can see that tells me what I'm looking at. Oh well. Yeah, production buildings first, then housing, I would say. Oh yeah, 25 logs for one of these houses. How many do these trees produce? 2. Okay, that's like most of all the trees gone then. Do we have like such a massive lake here? I wonder how they did the water physics for this. Because it almost looks like the water is flowing in the opposite direction in this lake. I guess it's like moving in both, and then it like leaves the map out here. I wonder. But it probably means that we can also make a dam over here, which is something we should consider doing. I wonder if we can just do it diagonally. We need to have like one of those construction thingies. One of these builder flags out here. Should be able to just like build it there for now. And we also need one here so that we can build the other one. But I might be getting ahead of myself, I don't know. Can make staircases. Okay, it requires science though. Well, we can at least make that path there. Assign some more growing area. Yeah, our food's going down pretty quickly. So we can probably make do with another farm. But we can assign 2 people in there. Okay, so a little bit like Rise to Ruins, where you can assign them. So we can see who we've got on the left here. Unemployed 0, free builder flags 2, builder's hut. Is that this thing? Oh, okay. So this building's range is extended by pathways. And oh, so there was no reason into building the builder's flag if we just waited for the paths to be built. Okay. Because these don't get the work speed penalty that this other one does. That does mean that we can probably reduce this by 1 though. So that we can get some, well that would mean we have more unemployed. So let's just put that up actually. What about this one? Only 1 person can actively work here though. Okay. It's fine. Yeah, these cost 20 logs each, so the fucking those are actually really expensive to make. Building can store 200 items. I have a feeling that's a bit more than 200 carrots there. Okay. All our water storage is almost done. We don't have enough housing still. Hopefully them hanging out is good enough for now. So can we change? Oh, we can assign priorities, a little bit like oxygen not included. So if we really wanted to, which we do, we can assign this to be like high priority. Nice. It's gonna be super expensive though. Let's actually change that to just a regular priority up. Because otherwise they're never going to finish these freaking houses. Which are like, you can almost build 2 houses for the cost of one of these damn elements. So. But yeah, I guess if we dam up the water before the dry season, we might not need as many water tanks to be filled, because we can survive the dry season, you know, without worrying about that, and our crops won't die, hopefully. Maybe they'll like shrink in, I don't know. All the berries down here seem to be pretty much gone though. That's the only food we have in store right now, so in other words, we're kind of forced to like have another gatherer's flag up here. So not a big fan of, but you don't have any options, I suppose. So you can actually have, oh, that's actually a good idea. So you can set prioritized action for the specific building, which means that I can assign one worker in each, right? What? Oh, 0 to 1. Okay, so it's because we have no unemployed, that's why. Probably because the guy's like over here right now. I'll pause that one though. Because we need people working in other places. But yeah, it means like while one of the people like will harvest crops, the other one will immediately start replanting, so we're not wasting any time like having our crops not grown. But we can pause this building because there's no berry bushes left. Getting dangerously low on food though. We're getting this gatherer's flag now. But do we have anyone we can assign to it? Well, that is the question of the day. Yes, we can just reassign some of the workers in this building into that. Extend its range for building paths. Do you think this guy's like... Nope, this is the builder's flag guy. Okay. So... if we want to have like a path through here, we just gotta cut down the trees, I suppose? We've got 2 unemployed, but for some reason no one is like tending to this one. I'm wondering if it's because it's too far away from a pathway. Because if it is, it's kind of shit that I can't like necessarily get rid of these trees without completely unlocking this area so that they start prioritizing the other one. Okay, we have some carrots now though. Yeah, I've got like a bit of divided attention because this thing I think is really important to build. We do have a few logs. So since the pathways don't cost any wood or resources to build, we should probably just have this one person slowly but surely build this dam up. We have 10 out of 9, which means that we need another house as well. We can just build houses on top of here to save ground space so that we can have more crops if we need to. Which is probably why they have this verticality. You want to keep all the flat ground for your crops. And what else you need the fertile soil for to grow things onto. Oh, we can actually build this path now, maybe? Most of it. How about this one? Okay. Can almost get this freaking thing up here connected. Beavers are happier than ever. You've reached a new well-being high score. Oh, thanks for that motivational achievement game. Wish I could get rid of that tree though. Eventually when it grows, I will be able to. I don't know if trees regrow on their own. Yeah, we now have more spacing for our people so that they can actually live on here. I want to do one more house just so we have like excess housing available for people. It's so weird that they're beavers. Like, you know, most colony building games always focus on some kind of humanoid, which is, well, at least this type of colony building game. So having it be something else for a change is kind of interesting. We have one person that's unemployed though. We can assign more beavers for harvesting. So we have one person constantly replanting, but then have two beavers harvest stuff. Because I don't know if plants that can wilt or rot if they sort of go unharvested for too long. But assuming that they can't, then any excess crops, I guess, will just act as a buffer. So they'll be constantly working, essentially, as long as they have water available to them. Which means you get a constant flow of food instead of it happening in spurts. So I think that's a pretty good strategy. Because otherwise they would keep harvesting until everything is harvested and then they would start replanting it. And then all the time in between they would just wait for crops to grow before they would start harvesting and then planting once all that stuff's done again. So can they even get down here? It's too far from builders. Build more paths, build a flag or a billis. Okay. So that tells me that in order to build that, we actually need science. Question is, will we be able to do that with the time before the first dry season? Maybe we do need more water tanks. Put 2 of those up here. Dry season approaching. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Guess there's no point in putting everyone on planting, so this main building can reach everything, so there's no reason to have this guy be occupied there. So collect some goddamn berries. Yeah, so once this orange bar fills up, we're in the dry season and might get totally screwed over. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. It's like, can't really do much about it right now. Because we can't really get down to this dam area, since that would require like staircase or something. We don't really have many logs in the first place because I've been like trying to get these paths down so that we wouldn't need these construction sites. So where can we save people? Well, at any rate, we should probably get some more wood chopped. So we have this lumberjack flag here. Oh, that's why they're not cutting the rest of the path. It's because it's not within range. I see. Yeah, so they don't get like any detrimental effects, it seems. Yeah, now we're just harvesting crops because might as well get as much of this food in store as we can. Okay, so the main building can also store 200, it seems. Well, hopefully we get through that dry season well enough. If we don't, well, too bad. We'll just try again, I guess. I do think this is like a really cool concept though. I do like the whole concept of like playing around with water. It's like such a hard thing to get right. Some video games have done it in the past fairly okay in various ways, but I think it's a really good idea, this game. Now the good question is going to be whether or not they will be able to make the game work in like when you get a really big city. I know other games like RimWorld suffers once you get like too many things moving, and it always tends to be the Achilles heel of these type of games, that once you get to mid towards end game, like not even end game, just mid game, it's like games just fall apart. Hopefully they'll prove us wrong and make a game that actually can like is playable beyond that point. I accidentally changed the speed of my mouse and now it's like, there we go. Goals. This feature is not available in the demo. Okay, so it's just the sandbox at this point. Just mess around with the game and try and survive, I suppose. Well, alrighty then. I keep looking over here to the left to see, and that's probably why they're talking about the, you know, UI improvements, because this definitely feels very unfinished. Also, just having all this information on screen all times is a little bit... especially when there's no transparency. So, dry season is here, and all the water is just disappeared. I didn't even notice that it went by so fast that I didn't even notice it. Well, we'll put these buildings on pause because all this... Oh, this is actually maybe harvestable still. Is it still harvestable? Oh, they can still harvest the carrots. So even though it's dried out, doesn't mean that all the food's gone. Okay, that's a valuable lesson, because it means that it doesn't... Yeah, and our storage is actually full. We have so much food. I was so worried that we just ended up getting like so much food that yeah, basically overcompensated. So I guess we can put another stockpile for food over here or something, so that it's like instead of having all the food centralized, so that they can go over there to get food if they need. I don't know if they actually always return to like their homes whenever they're hungry, but in case they don't, you know. But yeah, that's more than enough food. Holy shit. I guess the water is the main issue then. Because we have like way less water than that. But the dry season is already halfway over, so I guess it's okay. Should be fine. So the first thing I do want is to unlock is probably this staircase thing. But it needs 70 research points. It's fucking swirly top buildings. Basically a windmill. Or not a windmill, but it's like a, yeah, fancy wind turbine. What would you use that for in a science lab? Well, I guess if they need some kind of power for some kind of experiments, but I don't know. Yeah, so all the remaining crops have dried and died out, so. But that took almost the entire dry season for that to happen, so. That doesn't seem like such a big deal. So we're in wet season again, so that should mean that the water would be coming through here. Yes. Except where's the water? Oh, there it is. Holy shit, it's like super slow though. This is at 1x speed. And we're really far down the stream, so it takes a while. Okay. Yes, we want to unlock this, please. So that hopefully means that we can actually... Now, how do I want to do this? Because I have no idea how the water is going to act. Here comes the water though. And we're back in business. That means we can take these down to one of each. And then have one prioritizing harvesting and the other one prioritizing planting. Again, which is going to be totally fine because if there's no crops to be harvested, the one that's doing the harvest priority is still going to do the harvest. It just doesn't prioritize it. And the same with the other way around for the guy that's planning. So eventually they will balance itself out once the crops are actually grown, so. Or should. Yeah, we're just chopping the trees there, that's fine. Okay, so we have one thing built. Oh, we need planks for those. Okay, so we need to make a production building then. It's gonna be this lumber mill. Power input 50 horsepower. Okay, that means we need to have power. Now I already know kind of how this works. So you can have a beaver operated or you can have a water wheel. On a riverbank. So we put this in here and it's green, so it should be functional. And then we go, and that's another thing that I think is just really cool. Like this lumber thing here, like being almost like a steampunk thing just with beavers. And then it seems like we have some some nodes on the side there. I assume those round ones are where you can hook in this building to power. But it's only gonna require 50, so what are our power distribution options? So you can actually split it off into multiple directions. Okay. Well, let's just do one for now. And make this lumber mill. Okay, so we can't hook it into the back, it seems. Alright. It has to be hooked in like this. Wonder if you can transfer power between buildings. I don't know. This is probably going to be fine though. But yeah, we can't continue our build projects until those have been built, so we could assign more beavers for onto lumbering tasks though, so that they do more stuff. Because both of our farms are occupied and all the fields are already tended to. The water is also doing good. So yeah, it's pretty much just chopping wood at the moment. Because I don't think we need to worry about food, given our last season's like end results. But maybe another water pump might be preferable, I guess. Along with like more water towers, just so we can store up more of that water in case we need to. Build it up to there. Because like the more water we store, the less we have to worry about it. Because if we can reach that critical mass where the dry season doesn't, you know, borderline doesn't even matter anymore, then why bother with anything else, right? Okay. Okay, it does seem like I have a hunch the trees might be propagating themselves so that you don't ever end up in a stalemate situation, but I am uncertain about it for the time being at least. So we'll just assume they don't replant themselves. And because we have the ability to build staircases, we can build up on this ramp now as well. I think I do want another storehouse. Guess we can build one right on the edge of the water here. Get away with it, at least. Then build a lumberjack flag that's a little bit closer to where the trees are, or remaining trees are at least. Actually, I should have actually put it down there. I guess there's also the other trees over here. These provide us as much wood? Yes. So they don't provide less wood just because they dried out and died. That's always something. Building lacks workers. That's understandable. So if we pause this, so it's turned off, but I assume it means that they can still go and work there, go and build it at least. I think this is the one that's lacking, yeah. Let's just pause that. It's not as necessary anyway. Let's get some more housing in though. We finally built this staircase. So we start building this This dam down here. Now they are beavers, but I have no idea what happens once they sort of start going into water. Like how they deal with that stuff. All things considered, they should do okay. I mean, but I don't know, like if they can suffocate and stuff, basically. That's the thing. Those are the things that I worry about. Yeah, we've got like our freaking... It's driving awfully fast for the speed at which this water is flowing. But it's cool. Okay, we definitely need those houses here built. Actually, let's just get this priority tool up. So we can also prioritize that road a little bit better. Because I guess the logs are going to be our main sort of thing that sort of stops us at the moment. Forester. Okay, we should definitely get a forester though. Otherwise we're just gonna run out of wood very soon. Or rather wood harvesting prospects. Okay, so if we build one right here, we can use this pretty much this entire anywhere in this entire area as a growth zone, so that's cool. And we can also plant these bushes now. Okay. So we can actually assign this as farmland. So that we're not totally dependent on random growing bushes now. Get that integrated in. Then we can plant some birch trees. Okay. Let's do that here then. I don't know if we need all that stuff down there because I have a hunch the trees are going to take a while to grow. I mean, that would only make sense, right? So, yeah, screw it. Let's actually mark all of this down here at least. And then let's remark all this for chopping down because I hadn't done that. Why did I do that? Oh yeah, because I wanted them to reprioritize up here and then I backpedaled on it, so that's why we're here now. Can we make pathways on these? Do you not need to? Because it says like it spreads down onto these. So I assume they're like accounted for as pathways as long as they're directly connected. Since this builder flag does get like a movement penalty and stuff anyway. So I'll try and disconnect it. Yeah, it seems like that would be okay. Because it would be better to assign more builders in here instead. And then just make usage of the paths system instead. Gather a lumberjack. Do we have any builder flags anywhere that are active that I've just missed? Oh, we've got this one. Don't need that at all. Let's actually wait. So we would still need this one if we build this building here. The forester. I guess we would at least need a foresting building. Now I don't know if we need to actually mark it as areas for chopping wood, but oh well. We'll take that hill when we get there. Okay, we have 2 unemployed at the moment. So let's just get this lumberjack flag activated. And built, more importantly. Just so we can have more beavers actually chopping wood. Okay. Yeah, and we can only have one beaver per forester, so we'll have to keep an eye out on how fast this one guy can sort of operate this building. Do all the work tasks. So how do we deconstruct? Okay, demolish, delete buildings, mark resources for demolition. Oh, so we can mark resources for demolition. Okay. So if you really want to make like a quick path, yeah, all resources will be lost, but if we quickly want to like have a path through here, we can actually do that. Okay, that's good. That is very good. Yeah, all the water's like sort of getting squeezed through that opening now. Hmm. Well, little guys, you just work along. Now let's see what we've got here. We've got some platforms. Oh, so you can use that for getting across, I guess. Planks and logs. So we can use that to get to the other side of the shore while still having keeping our feet dry. What else do we have? Gear workshop, paper mill, printing press, scavenger hut. Monuments. What about water? Irrigation tower. Irrigates the land around it. Must be built on the ground. 200 science points, okay. Or a large water tank can contain... Holy shit. That can contain a lot of water. Oh, not available in the demo. Oh. Well, thanks. Thanks for making it more challenging, I guess. Okay, so these guys, if I make a hauling post, they can help with moving shit around. And allegedly they're more efficient at it too. Okay, so I guess we would want them here, but... yeah, let's put it there, because I want some housing space on the opposite side here. Also, we can't build large warehouses because demo. Just take my money already. Can sort of build in another little stockpile there. Okay, we're really squeezing this water now. It's actually starting to build up, as you can see, before going through that very thin gap leading to the other side. Okay, can't make a gristmill or bakery either. We can make a grill, so we can process grilled potatoes from potatoes. Okay. So we can give them a little bit of food variety, which is cool. So what about terraforming? Is that a thing we can do? That's just the options. Landscaping. Explosives and dynamite. Destroys the block of terrain underneath it and triggers adjacent dynamites. Huh. Okay. So that requires the explosives, of which we have 15 already. So you can actually make these from the very beginning of the game. Okay. So Because it says destroys the block of terrain underneath and triggers adjacent dynamite. So we can like make a long ass irrigation using this dynamite stuff. So like if we wanted to, we could actually take the river up here and diverge it inland. Ooh, we could actually even diverge it in and have like a permanent pond here. It seems, at least. That would be kind of cool. But should probably get some dynamite production going before we consider that. I'm wondering who is gonna be planting all the berry bushes. If it's the people working on the gatherer flags. Because they gather berries, but I think we need farmhouses here. Oh wait, they can propagate berry bushes. Huh. Okay. There's nothing here either. Well, alright then. Oh, okay, so we can unlock the builder's hut so we can build more of those buildings we started with. Also, the dry season's coming up soon. But I just realized building this dam at this height at least just means that we get like a little pond here, which is not really going to do us many favors. But it's something. Oh yeah, these trees are going to take forever to grow. They're like 50% of the way there. So definitely can make do with assigning more land to be used for growing those. Where did you do that again? Plant trees and bushes. Here we go. And you just get this fucking entire plot of land out here for that stuff. Seems fine with me. Go in there. Put down a few trees here and there. So let's just make that carrot farming field. Okay, so high power shaft. So this is all just transferring power. Okay. We can't get the... We can't... Wait. Can we get it? No, I don't think so. No. Not available in the demo. So can we even destroy to get like more dynamite then? Because where is that made? Because we can make a paper factory and a gear factory and a printing press. Oh, there's the explosives factory. I was just being fucking blind. Okay. Manufactures explosives from paper. So we need paper in order to do that, and it needs power. Probably gonna do that somewhere else than down there, though. Possibly up here. Like, just straight up get rid of all those berry bushes that are here, maybe, and then... Yeah, that might be the answer. Oh, or we could do it on the opposite side of the river. Eh. Okay, so is the water like... Eh? Where is the water going? Blocks water but allows sun to pass through a spillway at the top. Oh, okay. So... Oh, so we need the levees to completely block it. Oh, I'm such a dumbass. Oh, so these could actually have been built up here, no problem. Whoops. Rip. Well, I guess that means I gotta demolish this whole thing. So much for not knowing the difference between a dam and a levee, I guess. So how would I do that? Would I even need to do that? I mean, I can just leave this, I suppose. And just say that was like a past mistake, and then just do this across here. Should be more than adequate. Because this is just what I should have done, honestly. And we'll just remove all of that and build a path connected with. And then that should be more than fine. Well, I guess we have a little pocket of water here for whatever reason. Oh, okay, so if you deconstruct things, it just instantly deconstructs it. Huh. Oh, rip this. Because there's no reason to make it like 2 stories tall if we can just make it 1 story tall and avoid wasting a lot of resources. And we're good on all the other like survival resources, I think. Actually, we should have unpaused this one. Oh, I can't even do that in the dry season. But yeah, we're in the dry season. I wonder if we have enough water this time around because we've got more beavers now. Hopefully it's going to be fine though. Let's get a ramp built so we can get up here though. Because we're probably going to need like a fucking billion of these since the devs decided that for the demo you're not allowed to have like a large water tank. Like 30 water on these when you don't have a dam that sort of keeps it in check. Doesn't seem like a lot. Oh shoot, that also means I should definitely cancel the fuck out of this over here. Like so. But that does actually mean we can just make one across here and be fine. So let's actually get that queued up as well. I guess we do want it at the most far-reaching point to make the most out of like the backed up water that we'll hopefully have then. It's a little bit annoying you can't assign areas for growing while there's still other trees there, because you wouldn't want to like force remove them since it means that you don't get any resources out of it. So it kind of just leaves you in this weird spot where you're kind of just, you know, being denied convenience for no reason. But yeah, water is actually the only concern I have at the moment. Oh yeah, and the factory doesn't function when there's no water running either. So even though we could save up water here, the water wheel wouldn't function because it needs water to flow. So what can they even do in the dry season then? Because there's not really many things they can do as outside of chopping wood and building things. Oh, this dry season is like really long though. Huh. Well, rip my colony, I guess. I don't hardly see that bar progressing at all. It is progressing, but really slowly. So the first dry season, not too terrible. Second one, fucking gonna kill you. Yeah, okay. I mean, our beavers are just gonna start dying now because there's no water on the map. Apart from this little leg up here, but we can't really get to that in time, so... Rip. Huh. Well, I did feel that it was going like really easy, but... No wonder. Like, we're completely out of water now. Okay. Can we go to a previous autosave? Nah, let's just fucking do a new colony. Let's do a new game. I wonder if the canyons, even though being smaller, has like a different biome layout or like height layout, making it harder to play. But yeah, it's the whole thing about dams being like... I thought you needed like a later stage upgrade, I guess. I just got it mixed up, so to speak. Okay. Yes, disable tutorial, I don't need that. Oh wait, this is the exact same map for me, okay. Huh. Well, I want a new map. I want to play the same exact map over and over. This feature not available in the demo, okay. But I could swear the fucking, I could swear the map that I saw in the stream, or sorry, in the YouTube video of the guy that I was watching was different than mine. So I wonder if the maps are like specifically randomized for each player, but only once. This seems a little bit weird that I say new game and then it's the exact same map. Oh well. Okay, well, I guess it's just the same map. Okay then. Well, second time's the charm, I guess. So why don't we just give it another go-y? So we know now that we already have a lumber station to begin with. And we know that the drought season is going to get worse. We can actually move this water station across if we demolish this freaking junk down there. I'd much rather have the water easier to like access that way. And because we started with that explosive stuff, let's try and actually use it this time around. So where was it again? It was under landscaping. Oh, cheeky bastards, right, you need fucking to research it first. It's, although it is very cheap, you still do need to research it. Alrighty then. Do like so. Then there was that leisure building here, which we'll just have across like last. And we shouldn't need a builder's hut because we can just assign them, or like a build flag because we can just assign these guys. Do need to have like a lumber yard for sure though. It's under storage and log pile. Or maybe that's also a thing, like the logs that they were trying to store were so far away. Are those bears? No, they were beavers, Moohoo. They were freaking beavers. This is yeah, it's a post-apocalyptic game where beavers have become like, I don't know, self-aware enough to the point where they can have developed a society. It's kind of cool. So it plays a little bit like other, like, I don't know, colony building games that you might be familiar with. Oh right, need to also mark some trees. So the general idea is that you need to survive. Oh, you've seen it on YouTube. Yeah, it seems to be pretty trending since, you know, new on Steam and all that stuff, and coming out into early access soon. This just being the demo, of course. But yeah, it's it seems pretty promising, I would say. Like, if they do some extensive stuff with the water physics, which I think is the coolest part about the game, that could be really nice. But obviously only time will tell, so. But yeah, just like with Oxygen Not Included, is a colony building game where you set priorities and all the beavers have, like, you know, work priorities and that kind of stuff. So let's make some housing for these guys, or at least queue it up, not necessarily make it straight away. So how are you doing, Muhu? It's been a while. Or at least it feels like it's been a while. Hope you had a nice weekend and stuff. Can't see builder's flag, not really that important. We need a gatherer's flag though. If we build it here, they can actually reach all the berries there. I've been a pirate for a while lately. Yeah, I've noticed. But yeah, you didn't really miss out on too much when I was playing with my friends. Because we kind of just wanted to do the Pirates of the Caribbean related stuff, and I don't know if you've played that through that Golden Voyage stuff, or Tall Tale is what it's called, my bad. But it's not really that heavy on, like, I don't know. You've heard that it isn't worth it. Yeah, so far I'm also kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's cool and all, but like the only like you don't really get any like much progress in terms of Sea of Thieves. It's a cool experience, but you don't progress at all through it, like in terms of what you could do if you just played the game, basically. And the notes and lore is not worth it, in my opinion. Like, it just isn't. So I would agree with people saying that it's not worth it. So even though it's like Pirates of the Caribbean theme too, it doesn't really like hold its weight enough to be interesting for long. And like, especially the very first part of the Tall Tale was kind of like, cause like it would be a challenge to fail that one, if I'm gonna be honest. And listen here, when I started the Sea of Thieves, I played the game, the intent to play PvE, though we kept getting ganked and got a bit tired of it, so we had to change our mindset to the PvP aspect, which for us made the game a bunch of fun. Like, for you? Like, is that your own personal statement, or is that someone else's quote? Because PvP's just gotten worse over time because of the, like, they've made too many that's yours and your friends. Okay, I feel that PvP has just gotten worse in that game. Like, we got into a PvP fight because we wanted to see some PvP action by the end of like doing Tall Tales for like 3 hours. And people are so fucking toxic in that game. Like, it's ridiculous. Which partly just alone made it very unpleasant as a PvP experience. But then there was also like the fact that like all the new game mechanics that have put into the game just make PvP less fun too, including the tweaks they have done to the weapons. Like the blunderbuss is just so fucking broken. They need to re-nerf that shit back to where it used to be. Because having a one-shot weapon like that just isn't fun. Like, there's no point to using the Eye of Reach sniper rifle anymore. Because it's just so bad in comparison. There's no reason to use the swords either because they're so bad. Because they made them harder to control and hit anything with. Since it used to be that if you hit like part of like world geometry when attacking an enemy, but you still hit the enemy, it would still count as like you doing damage. But now it seems like every time you hit like any kind of environmental object when you're attacking an enemy, your hit just doesn't count anymore. I think the PvP is quite nice. Because we killed him in the town. Yeah. Well, basically what my PvP experience that day surmounted to was a guy repeatedly, like, you know, bantering, or I don't know what the fuck you want to call it, but basically just moaning through his microphone saying like, oh, you're just so bad at the game, like, oh, you're just so fucking bad at the game, like, you know, absolutely unnecessary. And getting one-shotted by the blunderbuss over and over again was just so fucking broken. Yeah, you can mute voice, but still, that doesn't change that doesn't change the mentality of the player base. So, you know, it's how people play the game, it's not what they say. You know, like, there's no reason to like to be like that. Okay, well, basically, if you aim down sights with a blunderbuss and you stand up against an enemy, which you will always be doing when using this weapon, and you shoot, you instantly kill them. No skill required. You just need to, you know, aim at them and shoot. As long as you're aimed down sights, it's always a one shot. Yeah, but you're always close. This is a close quarters game, so when is the Eye of Reach ever relevant? You can't use it to snipe people off of other people's boats. And even if you did, it would be pointless because it doesn't really help you. You need to be on someone's ship to actually do some kind of damage. At which point, use the blunderbuss and pistol because it's easier to use than the sword. Yeah, I used to always use a sniper, but it's just inferior in every fucking way. There's only a few cases in PvE related content where it can be nice, but that's why people use pistols and blunderbuss. For PvE, I would probably use a sword and blunderbuss if you were going for the best weapons, but it's like so demoralizing when you walk around with your sniper that doesn't even, like, a headshot on a skeleton doesn't kill them, but then your friend comes up with a blunderbuss and, you know, insta-gives like, you know, 2 enemies at once because they're close together or something, or at least one-shots them. One of them, that is. Like, that's not balanced in my opinion. because the sword doesn't one-shot either when you're hit, and it's the same range, so you can't block projectiles either. Oh, and the fucking blunder bombs and fire bombs have just made it so much worse. It was cool. It's cool that you can break people's masts and rudders and shit, but the blunder bombs and fire bombs just make it so fucking painful to do any PvP, because one person can come onto your ship, light the entire place on fire, and just avoid, you know, you running around like a headless goose, unless you blunderbuss him before he gets up on your ship, basically. Like, if you blunderbuss him while he's climbing the ladder, is also a one-shot, right? So it goes both ways. But once another person is on your ship, and if you're using sword and the sniper, it's borderline impossible to kill them if they're running around, because people that use the blunderbuss and pistol will just run around avoiding you until all their both their weapons are reloaded. Then they'll instant gib one of your crew members, and then they'll run around until they're reloaded again. So you never get a chance to do a sword attack on them, because every time you attack, they move away. So, well, none of us were freaking out that day, so I don't think having your head cooled was like the issue. True, it's been a while since we played, but I don't know. It felt so frustrating trying to hit this guy, and my attacks were just not registering or doing a lot of damage, and then he just comes up and one-shots you at full health. Like, that kind of pissed me off. Because part of the reason why I stopped playing Sea of Thieves was because, for the PvP especially, was because of the blunderbuss being so OP for no reason. Like, it already did a lot of damage, and then they bumped up the damage that it did, and the other weapons just didn't follow suit. So yeah, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Well, it depends a lot, because remember, it's still cross-platform. So you might get up against people that are on Xbox and stuff, which is also another part of where, like, the game becomes, PvP-wise, very easy. Where there's basically no contest anymore. We met some once in a while which hammer us. Yeah, that also tends to be my experience. It's like a bit of a mixed bag, but that doesn't still mean that the PvP is good. What's this guy saying? Oh, right, they have no trees in range that they can chop because I didn't mark any of this. But yeah. There's also like, we didn't even go into the fight with like anything to sit like on the line, because we've just been doing those tall tales all day. So, and there were two other ships. There was a sloop which we took out no problem within like seconds, but then there was another brigantine just like we were in, and you know, one of their crew members basically fucked us up big time. But it's also like one of my friends didn't even know that the fire bombs and blunder bombs were a thing in the game, so that also caught him entirely, you know, by surprise, you know. So it didn't really help that there were also things in the game that, you know, he didn't know about. So I've had some good experiences in the past, but some of the, like, I think mostly just that blunderbuss change and them not backing down on it kind of like is the most significant thing that they should change back, because it's like, oh, you don't know how, you're so bad at the game, and then there's this guy running around with a literal one-shot weapon and claiming that he's basically good at the game. You know? Like, what? You live and you learn, but yeah, that's the thing though. We've played like Sea of Thieves for fucking hundreds of hours. Both me and my friends. So it's like, fuck that you can get back to a game and then be so, like, having such a hard time. Oh, I've met quite a few of them. Usually though, they don't speak English. But it's also like one of the guys that I was playing with, he's been playing it a lot the last couple of months with like a complete crew, like larger group of people actually, I should point out, meaning that they were basically going in there with 6-man crews and playing Sea of Thieves. Not 4-man crews, 6-man crews. Meaning that they would just spend an hour every session in order to get into the same session together. They did 2 brigantines. There's another thing. Apparently, a good number of people don't like to use the galleon anymore for some reason. I'm a bit unsure as to why, or I have a few hunches as to why, but you know, that is an actual thing. Yeah, why would you do a sloop in a galleon? That doesn't make any sense. At least to me. But yeah, that's that's a thing they would do. It's like when you get to that stage of playing the game, like that's definitely for sure when I tap out. I'm not gonna spend a fucking hour just to cheese the game in ways that weren't intended. And to be honest, like, well, it's hard, right? Because the reason why people do it is because you can't play with larger crews than 4 because there's no ship that's large enough. And even if there were, you know, 2 players would have no chance against 6 other players. Unless the 6 other players are completely noobs at the game. Like, there's no way. Like, the amount of people is just too significant. Or Xbox players. True. Probably true. Got a beaver that has no job. All my lumberjack stations are occupied though. That being said, we don't exactly have a lot of logs. My brain has just been like going a bit on autopilot while talking to you. But yeah, I don't know. Possibly also because we went through like 3 hours worth of Tall Tale that didn't have as big of a payoff as I'd hoped. And got a little bit disappointed by that. Kind of also rubbed me the wrong way, I suppose. So though the tall tale was well, like everything was pretty to look at and stuff, it was an okay experience and such. It was more cinematic than like, you know, you didn't feel rewarded afterwards because you didn't really get any gold in return. You didn't get any doubloons or anything. Like you got for the commendations and you got like the specific skin for that tall tale and stuff. But yeah, my friend told me that that when he did it, it was really bad because the second tall tale is an instanced area that's located in the overworld. Yeah, that as well. Like having to repeat the tall tales was also something where I just tuned out and didn't care because I don't want to farm those things. They're supposed to be storyline quests or whatever. Oh, and the notebooks. Fuck those. Like, why do they put them in? They put them in like super hard to reach places where you have to look around for like an additional 3 hours to find every single one. Or like, and where if you miss one and you go too far, you have to redo the whole fucking 1 hour experience just to get that one book for a commendation or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, fuck that. I don't care about those too much. It's not worth it, honestly. It's not worth the effort. Need some more housing for these beavers. But yeah, I don't get why it needs to be like so obnoxious to do those tall tales, because they're supposed to be fun, not like tedious and boring or grindy even. I mean, the rest of the game is already grind enough as it is, so why do that for those specific experiences that are like adventure mode quests or whatever? Especially because they take so long time to complete already, and the payoff is usually not worth it in terms of like coins or doubloons. Even for like the commendations. So it's just to get the specific skins that those provide after all. But yeah, my friend told me that the second tall tale for the Pirates of the Caribbean thing is also instanced into the real world, which means that his experience was that they would go out and do it, and then all of the rooms of all the puzzles would already be solved. There would be no enemies to fight either, meaning that they get through like 90% of the whole quest without even by just running through it, basically, because all of the content's already been done. Then at some point you get to this part with a ship where you have to shoot enemies and fight like a boss at the end. And if someone's already been there before, all the crates with cannonballs have not been restocked. So they were fighting the boss with like flintlock pistols and sniper rifles. Also, you couldn't switch your weapons out, so if you didn't have a good ranged weapon, you would also be stuck with a blunderbuss and a sword, in worst case. And they even also got stuck in a room for literally 3 hours because all the puzzles up till that point had been completed, meaning that they didn't gradually get into knowing how the puzzles even worked. So they just get to like the last one, which is much harder than the others if you haven't experienced it before. So they didn't know what to do with the statues and stuff to actually beat the puzzle, and just ended up spending 3 hours just to get through that tiny section of the dungeon. I like that part. I can imagine how frustrating that would be, you know, because there's nothing you can do when it's like when you're basically getting it, having to share with all the people on the server, and there's no way of telling if the dungeon is like if the content in the dungeon has already been run through or not, because, well, How would you? So yeah. But I've had some really good experiences with the game in the past. Especially with like contested content areas like the skeleton fortresses and that kind of stuff. But I don't know what those things would be like today because the meta is all different now. So... And that's like in a game that already doesn't have many ways that you can play it as, with no way of making yourself stronger, it kind of sucks that the meta makes it so that, you know, even less parts of the game are relevant. Haven't tried them yet, really. Okay, that's basically what used to be the only thing you were doing when I was playing. Because that was the fastest way to get progress with your different factions. Well, this water is like really starting to build up now. Nice. Yeah, that's another thing. The Reapers marked chests or whatever. Like, that's also like how you would get doubloons instead. So I don't know what it is like now, but when I was playing more actively last, when they were first introduced, it was more of a matter of getting those basically. And if you would spawn in on a server, look around to, oh, here we can actually see the water, how it works. Ah, just like in Breath of the Wild. Interesting. I guess this makes sense. Oh, dry season's approaching. Can we like speed this up, please? Because the water is gonna stop running now. Oh yeah, it's approaching. Right. I forget that it's like a... Better fucking focus up, son, because you don't got much time left. But yeah, it would literally be people logging in to see if the Reapers chests were there and available, and if not, they would just jump out and jump onto another server. And then once they'd done the chest, they would jump, like, constantly switch between servers like that, just to get the doubloons, because that was the fastest way of getting progress. Which is kind of sad. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's fair enough. I was at that point where I was a pirate legend though, and the only thing left was the Venus Fortune missions, and they weren't just a random pick of the other of the other faction quests, which at that time, like, we didn't even have the missions where you gotta transport goods across with the merchants like alliance. So the choice of which quest types you could do and such was very limited. So, but now there's like, oh yeah, another thing that I also fucking really didn't like about the game was the alliance system, because of how broken, like how non-functional it was. Because we really wanted to give the, like, we really liked the idea of making alliances with people, but the problem with that system, unless it's been, I don't know if it's been fixed, but I assume it hasn't, because God forbid they ever go back and fucking change something. But my general experience with that was that people would go in an alliance with you and stuff, but then would turn on you. Like, you couldn't really do anything together as an alliance, because we found out that if you tried, you know, interacting with another group of players, they would just turn on you when you looked your back at them, at the most, you know, to them, what do you call it, bidding time, if you will. So kind of ruining the purpose of going into an alliance with people. in my opinion. Well, it's still a video game though. And I'm not talking about doing verbal alliance. I'm talking about putting up the alliance flag and game mechanic wise going into an alliance. Now in the game, the only thing it does is that when another part of the alliance turns in rewards, you get an addition, like you don't get 50% of their rewards, you just get 50% of what they are getting. So if they get like turns in something that's valued at like 6,000 coins, then you get 3,000 coins. And the same goes the opposite way around when your part of the alliance hands something in. But it's not really meant for like taking on a skeleton fortress together, because you can leave an alliance at any point in time without like any kind of debuff or restrictions in place to limit that action, which kind of breaks the whole, you know, alliance thing. Because who wants to go in an alliance with someone if they can turn their backs on you at any moment without being penalized for it? Or rather, people will go in an alliance, but they won't, like, you can't use it for things other than regular voyages. Because as soon as like a skeleton fort appears, both parts of the alliance might appear on the scene, fight together, and then one team's gonna backstab the other at some point and take all of the rewards to get the 100% instead of just 50% on some of the things. Some people will be like, you know, honorable, you know, okay players and actually share the loot as, you know, any reasonable person would, but still. Yeah, I know. Still though, what's the fucking point of being in an alliance? Because it's literally just a ceasefire, not an alliance then. Which is not the same. It's far from the same. Noodle stands? Beaver noodle stands, I guess. Oh shit, I'm actually taking a look at the time. Are you gonna be on Discord for a while, dude? Because I was planning on ending the stream right now, actually. Nobody's forcing in on you, of course not. But it's like, I really wanted to use the, yes, okay. But yeah, it's like, just to finish that off, I was looking forward to the alliance system, and it seemed like really cool, but I've just had too many bad experiences with it to the point where kill everyone and don't take any prisoners being the faster and more pleasant way to play the game. So that completely nullifies the whole point of doing alliance. Anyways, just wanted to like play this game on stream a little bit, because I feel like this game really does deserve a little bit of even though I'm not a big streamer or anything, but you know, does deserve like to be shown off, because it seems to be a pretty cool concept. So yeah, there's like a limit on how many ships can be on the server at any point in time. I believe there can be a total of 5 ships, and it doesn't, according to my friend, he said that it doesn't matter what ship size they are. It didn't used to be that way, but he says that that's how it works. So meaning that if there can be like 4 sloops and a galleon, for instance. So, but what do I know? Anyways, that's the stream for today. If you guys want to continue talking, I'll be on Discord though. Yeah, I believe it was the amount of players, as in ship sizes, not the like a hard 5 ships per server. But he told me that it was like 5 to 6 ships or something in total. Anyways, this is where we're gonna end it today, and thanks for watching. And if you're watching this on a VOD or whatever, do consider to give me a follow and come by at some other time. I stream other games than this, but similar like style, like colony simulation kind of games. It's mostly what rubs my fancy. Is that really anyone? Tumbling Satellite is playing Factorio, which he's like a satellite engineer, so I'm sure he would have like a lot of ideas on how to play that. Very systematic player, I would imagine. But yeah, no one that I really feel like rating today, so let's just call it here.